Is that the only one that kind of gets weird?
It's from 9 to 11:40.
Ooh, I would hate that. On a day like this?
Well, I don't take it Friday.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
It's 2 days to do it.
Right. Oh, we were learning about birth and babies yesterday. How to have a baby or how not to have a baby. That was fun. Because we always say, whenever you want to have a baby, it ain't going to happen. But when you don't want to have a baby, that's when it happens. Some people don't, but nowadays, you guys don't want to have kids, right? Nobody wants to have kids anymore. They're like, too much work.
I ain't even gonna say that.
Okay. Like a job and
Not even like I just want to get to have fun before I have kids. Like I want to travel with my husband, whatever, first before we bring kids or something.
preaching to the choir. I waited until I was 42.
We ain't going that long.
Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Because you got to like stay in shape then too. Not fun. But you know what? We survived it. Oh yeah, we were showing them pictures. The middle child's a goofball. And he's like making faces. It's kind of funny. The little one is hilarious. Where is he? That one, he's hilarious. But they're insane. I will say that much. Oh, I remember now. Okay. We were doing the ethics. So we already covered ethics. Now we're on multicultural. Do any of you guys have refugees in your hometowns?
Have what?
Like refugees.
I don't think I have any.
Where's yours again?
I say Indianapolis. I feel like we should have some out there though. I probably just don't know about them.
Right.
I feel like a lot of Hispanic people that like
I
African
can
people that
bet
stay
you
out there.
some refugees in Indianapolis.
Right, because like Lexington or Louisville's big, Cincinnati's big, and usually if you have to work with them, your agencies will train you, so that's a nice part about it. They'll train you to work with refugees. So like, you just need to make sure. Somebody mentioned the Haitian refugees on Wednesday. I know, I already forgot. We got Adriel, Lyric, Brittany. Okay, cool. Well, we were talking about how stuff overlaps legal issues. A lot of times it's your notes, ethical issues and legal issues. You got to write your notes. Because I had all these freshmen complaining about the papers in 101. Did you guys feel that way when you first started coming
I
here?
can't even remember what 101 was like. I
Just-
feel like
it's
you
just-
didn't give a lot of papers, though.
It's 5 papers, so
Yeah,
like
I
you
do
get
remember that.
ready to write because you're a social worker. And they're like, I can't write this much. I'm like, well, how do you communicate what you did with your client to the next person? That's why we write so much.
Yeah, social work is right.
Right.
I like when you did the final paper, because I asked him, do you want a full paper, like, we need more, he was like, it doesn't have to be, but just answer the questions, and that's exactly what I did, I answered the questions.
That's what
and
some
I
people
turned
do.
it in. So,
Uh-huh.
like, I'm done writing these papers.
That one's just supposed to have you write about why you want to be a social worker. Like,
I don't think that was the hardest class. I think policy was the hardest.
policy always can be the hardest. That one's rough.
Policy was
It's
crazy.
not that hard.
Huh?
That policy welfare class,
No.
Who taught it?
And I took it with Beyonce, but it was a turn B class.
Beyonce?
I had with Beyonce, she would cancel, it was like so weird, it was like
I heard
5.
she was the worst.
She didn't do nothing, we did not, we had no class for her, it was at 5 o'clock, she would cancel class most of the time, And then like, she tried to do that every other Thursday thing, but I, like, I'm just thinking like, you guys don't even have class for her. But all we had was like 3 assignments. And then she had like a final where you have to like present and stuff. No, yeah, like a final.
We had 6 papers in the term B class.
Well, that's beyond.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did Beyonce end up going?
Elementary school.
They probably pay way better than
Yeah,
here.
that's exactly what she got. I was talking to her. I'm gonna make sure. So.
I heard some of those are starting you at 70,000. But you can be a social worker and kind of get some permanency on a job and do it better that way. So yeah, the ethical issues, and then I had mentioned there is an association of group ASGW, like group practice. And then somebody said she did cancel a lot of class too. I don't know.
Yes.
I had policy with Giasia. It was not that hard, honestly. She did cancel a lot of class too.
Policies.
She canceled. Then it came to a point like, you know what?
Yeah, you was in a Beyonce class.
Stop that. There's no play on this.
So you all had Beyonce and Giasia.
It wasn't that bad. It was
Yeah.
like papers to keep up with.
Right.
I passed the class.
That's good.
Then I took policy. We didn't take policy. What was that class? Was it policy 2? Or was it social welfare? And that's
Just
welfare.
social worker.
So policy, I took it with a white lady. I forget her name. I don't know if she's still here.
I forget who that was.
Jory Watson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
She was teaching it like it was graduate school.
Yeah,
probably.
like she was
Yes.
down policy.
And we were struggling in there.
Yeah, that is.
Policy was crazy. I hate policy.
I didn't think it was that hard.
She don't even teach
And the
anymore.
research methods with Winbush was
It
crazy.
wasn't that bad. I mean,
It wasn't that bad.
Winbush was cool, but she
It wasn't that bad when
class
you came to
itself
fly,
was
but there ain't no way you could.
oh, no, she don't post them spots.
No,
Yeah, you know how to post
you
them.
actually got to read it.
Yeah, you got it. Now she made you do the work. She definitely
Mhm.
made you.
Yeah, I think
I love Winbush though.
Yeah, she's on our research study right now, so she's helpful. The second half of the slide is multicultural issues. So, because really, almost any agency we go to, we gotta learn the population, and they're always different. Even if like they look exactly the same as me, they're still going to be different. You know what I mean? Just like the city or the hometown or the upbringing. That's why we study the holistic model. So looking at multicultural issues in group work, and then assess your own awareness and understanding of cultural values. Like I said, your agencies will train you. Competence and comfort, doing it in groups. Anybody else have allergies today? I cannot breathe. I don't want to die.
I got allergies, but I took mine.
Ragweed or something? Whew. But that's why it's good. This is only 41 minutes left. It's like the fastest class every day. So diversity in groups, you got it in race, ethnicity, language, culture, gender, socioeconomic status is a big one actually. Sexual orientation, religion, even ableism. Can you guys think of any others? I know they say more. Can you think of how else people are diverse?
Here's the house.
True.
Was that like culture though?
Yeah, I feel like that would be culture.
Maybe.
I was going to say physical ability, but that's probably ableism. I'm just thinking of like, even some.
Upbringing.
What's
That's
that?
culture too. Upbringing. I'd say
Yeah.
it's culture too.
So we kind of show up as a neutral party, which is sometimes hard. Like as a social worker, we just are like open to like listen and hear and do the experiences with folks. But sometimes it is hard to stay neutral. You want to like jump out and get with it. So if you work effectively with them, you will define and acknowledge their culture. When I worked at Claremont Recovery Center, it was mostly Appalachian, so I had to be trained on what like Appalachian folks. I would do home visits, and they said They're probably all going to offer you food, like sit down, have a meal. That's how they connect. It's okay if you don't want to eat it. It's okay if you do. And depending on my time, I would go either way with it. Modification of theory and technique, and then developing group theory and techniques. Like, do you work better with them if you build rapport? And I think you do. Like, that's why I would sit down. I worked at Claremont Recovery Center, and we did multidimensional family therapy. We do home visits. That's when I started doing horticulture therapy and like incorporating gardening for like family therapy, as they all could get on board with that. A lot of them had been brought up with gardening. I also worked with refugees at St. Leo's, and that's another very different culture. And they said a lot of folks from Burundi did not want counseling, because they would say God would take care of us. Like, it's up to God, we don't need counseling. So just kind of getting used to that resistance of social workers and counselors. So culture encompasses values, beliefs, behaviors shared by people, broadly defined. Culture takes into consideration demographic variables like age, gender, residence, status, so economic, social, and educational, and then affiliations, formal and informal. If you're competent as a group counselor, and it takes a while to get used to this. I love these dudes always write the book on groups. Corey, and Corey. It's his wife, his daughter, and himself. Those dudes making some money. But if you're diversity competent, you're able to explore the impact of cultural factors on all of their clients and aspects of their lives. They're diversity competent in the areas of beliefs, attitudes, knowledge, and skills. Now, I thought I was like diversity competent, and then I went and lived in, say, El Salvador and then Nicaragua, and then I went to India, even Rome, and like they're Italian people. And just like learning the different stuff people bring to the table. Have any of you all been to a different country? I always ask this one, like even Mexico or Canada?
Mexico, I just went to some Mexico.
Did you notice anything different, like culturally?
Yeah, in terms of how thirsty you are for American money and how, like, they're trying to openly price things.
Yeah.
Get money, but you can talk them down. They'll take whatever
Right.
you give.
They always start at least double for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Mexico.
Which part did you guys go to?
Punta Cana.
Oh yeah.
Punta Cancun.
Why do I think Punta Cana is Dominican Republic too? Is that the DR? Okay. It has Hard Rock Cafe. Is that what they had down there? And it's the all you can everything, where all you can eat, all you can drink, all you can.
Too much tequila.
Yes. If you eat the worm, then you're in trouble. Don't eat the worm. It'll make you sick. You heard of that in the bottom of the tequila bottle?
Yeah, but I would never eat that.
There's always a worm in the bottom of it. Don't eat the damn worm. So yeah, just understanding. A lot of times their food and music is what grows local around there. So tequila is made because I think that cactus that grows the stuff is around there. That's the sugar I don't know exactly, but you'll see a lot of corn. You'll see a lot of dishes that are beans and rice and corn. Was it Catholic down there? We get into faith, religion, and values. Spanish speakers, I guess. They all speak Spanish. You guys want to go to different countries?
I do.
Which ones?
Everyone.
Right?
I'm going to Brazil.
That would be fun. There's a lot of inflation down there too, because the dollar's the world reserve currency. Everybody's experiencing horrible inflation right now. One of the countries collapsed, like in South America near Brazil, but I can't remember. Maybe Venezuela? Colombia's getting kind of bad because they just assassinated a presidential candidate. So even being up to date on the politics and what, for example, when JFK was killed, that's the most recent president. I think Reagan was shot but never died. JFK was killed. My mom said that like changed the country. Like everybody was like, what in the hell? Like that dude just got shot in the head.
Yeah.
And being up to date with what is going on. You've also got what's visible, maybe race, maybe gender. Invisible is like ethnicity, sexual orientation, and then social class. I would argue to say social class isn't totally invisible. What do you think?
That's not good. I don't know, some people, are
Dress
very
humbly?
believers,
Yeah.
until you make it,
Right. Fly undercover, like just act like a person among persons, but they're actually a millionaire. They don't tell anybody. That's fun.
My dad would beat his clothes.
Does he? That's what I'm aiming for as I grow up. My dad still has the same jeans from like 1971.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got meat roll in his pocket every time he goes.
He just tries to blend in. He's just like, not to stand out, just kind of simple and humble. We got a few examples of groups. Not all of these work because this is when I taught at UC, but just kind of the introduction and how things, that forming part. I wonder if I play this one, if they would shut me down. The stuff, well, that will be next slideshow, but forming, storming, norming, and performing. So working effectively with diverse populations, you want to define and acknowledge the culture. That's funny, I feel like we just covered that one. So myth busting, so discussing differences and also homogeneity in groups. Like you could have people, especially in addiction recovery, you'll see people from every gender, race, religion, and they're all struggling with the same thing, like alcoholism or addiction. It's just like every person known to man. It's every country, it's like a universal problem. 10% of the world's people can be alcoholic. I feel like in the US it's a little bit more because we have all of our food and water and shelter met. So I feel like in the US it's like 20 to 25% could drink alcoholically, but globally it's about 10 to 12% drink alcoholically. So you could have a group and it could be seriously the richest and the poorest and the most religious and the least religious, and they all have the same problem. Role differences and task and psychoeducational groups. Maybe you're just educating them about alcoholism, or once they start drinking, they can't stop. Or you see the person who's a blackout drinker where they have a little bit and they just get so hammered they black out and act a fool. And some of that is culture. Like I grew up with German and Irish weddings and funerals, and all you do is get hammered. Like that's just it. You just get hammered. And there's alcoholism in our society, in my relatives, and it's like half the people struggle with it and then half don't. They can have 2 or 3 and put it away, and then there's the dude who drinks 12 to 15 and blacks out and like makes a fool of himself at the wedding on the dance floor. You guys ever seen anybody do that before? So in the group, maybe identifying the problem as what it is, that's something you'll work with them on. So this is always kind of like first in groups, like how are you going to recruit your people? Like if you run an agency, how do you advertise your stuff? How do you advertise addiction recovery? How do you get it out there? Like,
Are you asking that?
kind of throwing it out there. Like, what are unique ways to do it? Like, because if you run a business, you got nobody to take your business, you run out of business. So how do you get it out there? You know what I mean? Like you'll see
I would
billboards.
say flyers.
I said
Huh?
they usually seek out a drug treatment places that will refer them to that kind of.
Like probation officers.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
We use different offices in the area.
Huh?
QR code, I feel like QR code where you take it straight to
That is true.
the
Yeah.
page or whatever you're trying to promote.
Yeah.
And then you said if you run a business like runners, having people that go out and talk about your business and what you have to offer, things around that nature.
Yeah. Make sure that you keep your business afloat. Like it's gotten easier since the Affordable Care Act because you can bill so many different entities now, not just insurance companies. You got like Medicare, Medicaid. So it's gotten a little easier, but you still have to get out there and recruit because there's tons of competition. Because it got easier, there's so many agencies offering the same thing. If you don't get your name out there, you're not going to see 4 clients a day is usually that's how you can make a living. because then you take the other 4 hours in the day to like write your notes and do whatever. Most agencies want you to bill for 4 hours a day. If you guys learn productivity off of what they want you to do productively as an agency, billing for 20 hours a week or 80 hours a month, that's like standard. There's a lot of agencies that try to get you to bill for a little more, like say 85, and they're throwing one more in per week. But they found that right around 79, 80, 81, that's where most people burn out. If you go above that, you're going to have burnout social workers. So they all stay at that. At the private practice, I've met some dudes that can see 30 clients a week. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Because especially if they all have major issues and challenges, 30 a week is a lot.
Like,
That's how you get burnt out.
how many hours are you spending with each of those clients? Like, that's crazy.
Maximum hour is the idea. But it's still-
Too, like if you're working like an 8, 9 hour shifts on it, like out.
Yeah.
That's not really effective for the clients either. You only spend 45 minutes to an hour with them.
And you still gotta do your notes, and then on that client,
Because you're kind of doing some of that right now, aren't you?
yeah.
Well, I said you got to record, you got to do notes, you got to record it.
I work in rehab with, but I work different.
Is it addiction rehab or physical
We
rehab?
actually get both
Oh,
right now.
like a shoulder surgery and like pain pills addict? Okay.
We're doing both, it's bad.
Do they have productivity numbers? Like, do they make you see so many clients per day?
Yeah, they do. That's for insurance first, like, so they can bill them the right way.
Right. So what's the most you've seen in one day? Or is it?
Me,
Yeah.
or like, I'm an assistant, so
Okay.
probably
Or
like,
somebody you see working there.
but like 5.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a good like 5. Right
And that would be 30. So that's what I'm saying. That's
So what do
usually,
you do? Like, you just help them with their clients that they-
Yeah, I like helping with their care. We walk them. Some of them are like our drug addicted ones. It's more so like they have a group in there too. So like they'll make everybody sit down and talk to each other, ask questions. What are their plans when they go home? It's a long-term care facility, but we have a rehab unit in there. So like we have older and younger people. Some of them are vets who got addicted to painkillers, surgeries, or
yes.
phantom pain, which is like where they've been amputated, but they can still feel the leg there, so they still feel the pain. We
That's
have a lot
insane.
of that. It's crazy.
Is it like
But I
mental?
love
Is
watching
that mental?
it. It's
Like,
messed up to say that, but yeah, it's mental. It's like they said that they can still feel their nerves or something.
okay.
It's like something with the nerves.
So like my knee hurts. You're like, dude, you don't have a knee.
Yeah, he'll be like, my knee hurts, and you look on like, you're in that never thought.
Like your leg's cut off right here. What are you talking?
Like it's crazy, and they really feel it, and we scream.
That is crazy. Okay.
But it's interesting to learn. Like,
Yeah. So yeah, different things that you'll do to recruit, screen them, plan your day and your week. Sometimes you might know that you got a half day Friday, so you want to see like 5 or 6
Mhm.
Wednesday or Thursday. That way you can
Oh,
still be
nice.
productive. And
Right.
2 on Friday or 3 on Friday. Like our old agency let us do 4 10-hour days. So if you did 4 per day, 4 days a week, they only made us do 16 hours because we drove everywhere in Claremont. We could take Fridays off. He's like, if you see your 16 hours of clients, go home
Right.
and do 4 10-hour days. They consider it a 10-hour day. They don't do that as much, but people are considering it. So increasing your awareness and ability. A lot of them you can consult with and see what their problem is, kind of on assessment, get them a treatment plan. And that's another thing we'll learn about is like, how do you assess a new person and get them a treatment plan to go into groups and then immerse them in it, checking in, maybe language training. I wonder how I get, jumping. So also substance use is a part of culture we mentioned. So like, I don't know how much it is in your all's family growing up, but like both sides of my family, all they do is drink.
Yeah, mine too.
And that's their coping, that's their happy.
That's crazy.
It's like every occasion. I'm talking about kids' parties, grown-up parties.
drink.
There's something to drink there.
That's what my family would be off, like, doing this stigmatized black people. I feel like we'd be on that.
Yeah,
The drinking.
yeah. I think because like we have a baby shower on Saturday, and there's a whole blue punch with liquor. It's like tequila, most of it's tequila.
That's what I'm saying, like, that's like.
At a baby shower. But
Or
Getting
at a baby
wasted
shower.
at the baby shower.
Every family function or something, like, anything that might be a little exciting, it's gonna be that.
But some people are able to handle it and just drink a few, right? And then
Yeah.
there's the other people that just get,
Who's gonna drink too much?
and they fall over.
Or
and
not
they-
eat.
Yeah.
That's how my family, man. That's why we fell out right this second.
Right. So therapy groups might involve clashes of culture or subculture. There could be interpersonal learning. That's the process through which group members learn to accept that not everyone in the group is the same or holds the same assumptions, beliefs, customs, rules, norms, and habits. But sometimes when you're working in a group, it takes you a while to get that point across to somebody. You're like, they're just pointing out the differences and like, well, I'm not like them, so I can't be alcoholic. Or I don't drink that stuff they drank, so I can't be alcoholic. But like you're like, you just got a DUI and lost your job. Like it sounds
You're
like
definitely alcoholic. Or you woke up and the first thing you wanted was, I'm
Right.
wine. Like,
Right.
I've had friends like that. Like, but they're like, well, it's not liquor, it's wine. Well, you're still gonna get intoxicated.
Yeah,
You bottle.
yeah, if you're drinking
So
2 or 3 bottles, you're going to get
it's really
smashed.
bad.
Absolutely. So we as therapists need to prepare for the work by enhancing our own awareness of possible dynamics with the group. You might see a problem stem up right away or develop a sensitivity to address the issues that come up. And that's awkward. Maybe that's why a lot of people don't want to work in groups, because it's a lot easier to work one-on-one. To work in groups, you've got to have that way to like see and have awareness and catch something before it blows up, you know, like.
So I like wonder, like, when you're in a group, when you do have group settings, because I know that like we have a lot of non-compliant one-on-one in our group thing. But it's like, how do you, if you notice that each person needs something different, how do you assess that in a group?
So there are a lot of agencies where even though they have that group, like at Lighthouse, we had a trauma group, the client still saw their one-on-one counselor individually and separately. And they didn't only do groups, but if they don't have the individual option, you're right, it can be a pain in the butt. Maybe you talk with them afterwards,
Right.
but the hard part is you don't get paid for it then. So
Right.
it's like, do I really?
You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
You do it if you
Right.
care, but
You
it's
end
still
up-
a lot.
you end up doing it, but you don't want to burn yourself out. So you've got to fine tune that balance. So like self-care, every class I'll show my self-care slides. If you don't remember them, I'll show them again. But like, you got to do self-care. In this field, you have to do self-care or you will burn out so fast. And mine has been running again. I took 4 years off, but I started running, and that's like something that just allows you to like get away from the job, have a release, and just like do stuff. And then also, yeah, thinking about your own cultural background. So your own assumptions, beliefs, customs, rules, norms, and habits. And when you identify that not everyone's going to have the same opinion as you, that's like the first step towards awakening. Like, it's okay. People can all have different opinions. People can have different religion, customs, and all that. And maybe see where they do connect or seem similar. And that's helpful. So this might even be the last, it is the last slide. And I want to show you the Remember the Titans piece. So culture encompasses values, beliefs, behaviors shared by a group of people. Broadly defined, culture takes into consideration demographic. So like age, gender, residence. Sometimes they do make it age-based. Like you don't want a 18-year-old with a 65-year-old dude, but sometimes you'll get that, especially in addiction recovery. If the problem is once you start drinking, you can't stop drinking. Also status variables. So social, educational, economic, and affiliations, formal and informal, dimensions of culture that include surface and deeper dimensions, as well as visible and invisible dimensions. And self-awareness is a step in the process of developing multicultural competence. This is starting to remind me of something. Have you guys ever heard of this YouTube? I think they have to find it's kind of long, but this actually might be better than the unless if it's
So why is it a secret white guy? Is it, are they like?
they're
listening?
blindfolded.
Oh, I just want to figure out who the white guy is.
So
That's cool, kind of.
it is interesting though, because I was like, one of my supervisors showed me,
I'm
and
black. I'm black. I'm black. I'm black. I'm black.
I'm black.
I'm white.
I'm white.
but
So now, one quick question I gotta ask: are there any other like Africans or anybody with like any like Afrocentric ethnicities?
My dad has Nigerian.
What tribe? Do you know what tribe?
Actually, I don't, but my mom's Ashkenazi Russian Jew, and then my dad's literally like he got Nigerian all the way from Asian to.
I've been called him
Yeah, I got
like
nicknames.
international.
Well, Rosebud is actually my street name.
That's terrible.
Seriously, like older Caucasian man.
they do. So that is, I think that is a Caucasian thing. Like I'm German, Irish, and Syrian. So like what they describe, it is kind of terrible.
Yeah,
If you describe it that way, it sucks.
Like, I started country, like,
You're like you.
They do 50. Yeah, sometimes they do 50. Sometimes they be doing 50. I think my strategy was to kind of just be black.
I'm not gonna lie, when you said fits, I thought it was because you had tough fits on, you know what I mean?
I do.
You can't even see it, what you talking about,
Yeah,
bro?
I do.
You think they would see his legs
Probably be able to tell.
under the.
yeah.
I wasn't. I mean, can we all say what we wearing and everything? I got skeleton all red, varsity jacket, cargo pants on the side.
So we match it right now. I'm not wearing the skeleton fit, but I got like red.
You got Air Forces on?
I got Air Forces on. I wish I could dap you up right now.
Wait, what type forces y'all got on? So I got the Air Force One with like a little black stripe on it.
Okay, yeah, half black, half white.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Half black, half white. No cap, I used to wear some Pumas that were half black and half white because
Okay.
of that my whole life.
My strategy for today was to figure out who's safe rather than figure out who's the mole right off the bat. Who's one of the brothers? You feel me?
Who here knows what the smell of a hot comb on a head?
It stinks. It stinks real bad.
What are some prominent songs that you're gonna hear at a family reunion?
Oh, they played a lot of blues, Marvin C, Bobby Blueberry. Then when I got drunker, it was Tupac.
I got drunker.
His vocals, like it kind of made me think of, Straight Outta Compton, the movie. Maybe it felt too black, for a second.
Yeah, I grew up on
Yeah,
classic
yeah,
rock
yeah.
on my mom's side, and then I grew up on
Black.
Motown from my dad's side. So anytime, summer vacation in the backyard of my nana, she'd be playing all Motown. My pop-up and nana be dancing, slow dancing to it, telling them to pick your head down.
They got to kick somebody out, so it goes on for a few rounds. They got to keep kicking them out and say who is the mole.
Everyone has one person that's suspicious of them.
So we know where it is.
Alright, so I'm gonna start with a theme song. You finish it. We're brothers.
We're happy and we're singing and we're colored.
Okay.
Okay, good. Me growing up half black, half white, there's certain songs that they sang that I honestly didn't know word by word what to say. In the movie ATL, Rashad was running his daddy's house. It's what age? It's okay, it's fine. Y'all, I ain't gonna count. I ain't know the answer to that one.
Complete this song. That boy
I don't
got
remember the age.
stretch pants, boy got stretch pants.
What is that?
I got one.
Anybody know what it is when you say you put your foot in something?
Could
be real good.
Me and mama whipping it up.
That's good.
I was listening so intently on voices, because you ever been on the phone with like telemarketer, you can tell it's a black person on the other side, so you throw out little hints, while you're talking, you're like, oh yeah, we cool. I was trying to catch that.
Call and response. Won't he do it?
Yes, he did.
Who said that?
Brother Jay.
I'm suspicious of everybody else over here.
But they noticed.
What
Yeah,
flavor
you know.
Kool-Aid was your favorite growing up?
Red. I like grape, I mean purple.
That's
That's both sides right
Go ahead,
there.
say, because where I'm from, we go by colors. We don't go by that. What you just said.
Wait, hold on. Why is that crazy? Grape and purple are exactly the same thing.
I mean, we used to call Welch's grape soda.
I don't know. It's just where I'm from. We go by colors. We go by colors.
Grape Kool-Aid, not purple.
Mm.
Red flag.
You're trying to come at me about the grape, but honestly, that I grew up with a bunch of friends and we all called it that.
You said grape soda, not Kool-Aid. Ooh, red flag.
in Harlem.
How you make your Kool-Aid?
You pour the sugar to the ancestors, say stop.
They climbing.
In the summers, it was either if you were outside or inside. You had to pick, right? Like,
Yeah, when I'm running
running
in
up and inside your house, you know? So y'all feel that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take your hair out.
When it comes to black women from the 90s, who do you think of off the rip?
Be alone.
I'm gonna say Huckleberry.
Damn.
I'm gonna say,
Halle Berry.
For Jada Pinkett.
she's the rapper. Wow, what's her name? Rhapsody.
Jada Pinkett or the sister.
Wait, you can't take two, dog.
He taking forever.
Somebody gotta help me out with this. Shawty from like Black Panther. It was the queen, you feel me?
Yeah, I know her name, but you gotta know.
Angela Bassett.
I'm thinking, a different world. I can't remember her name. The old girl from a different world.
Is that the
I was
Cosmos?
watching my sister Raven Simone, Tyra Banks from that runway show. Is that 90s?
Tyra's from the
I
90s.
was thinking back watching the movie.
What's that? Oh, okay. Yeah, and so this kind of shows with the blindfold on how hard like understanding race, ethnicity, and all that can be. And when my supervisee showed this to me, I'm like, this is interesting. I'm gonna have to show this.
Interesting.
Yeah. They kick him off too. They start kicking off like he's white. So there's one white dude now. I'm gonna figure out who it is. Blindfold.
Appreciate y'all.
My homeboy I was matching with is gone now, bro.
When it comes to being black man, microaggressions, let's talk about it.
I got you right here, man. I went to a PWI. Man, I be chilling in the corner. There's only 5% of us, but somehow they find a way to take a picture of you for the day.
That's so true.
For the diversity, right? I'm like, they only 5%. I gotta give them credit though, because like finding us, it's gonna be a little bit tough. I'm like, yeah, they found a way regardless.
I ain't even gonna lie, low. I'm real lost. We from the streets. I ain't even get that far.
Hey, we all got a different journey, that's cool.
It's like the low key, right?
Yeah.
Like, not like
You're so well spoken. Wow. Why wouldn't I be? I'm a grown
a
man.
black guy is so well spoken.
Yeah.
You peep game, you walk down the street, right? And a white folks see you, the first thing they do when they see you or acknowledge you, they fold their lips, like, and nod their head down, make that
Or
weird
they give
face
you
now.
common space on the sidewalk or you can step in the street.
Or clutch their back.
Microaggressions.
Clutch their back.
Take the next elevator.
Yes. All of that.
Hella room in the elevator too.
Stare at you like you ain't supposed to be here. What was one of y'all favorite movies growing up? You feel me? Like Love and Basketball, Don't Be a Menace. I mean, what did y'all watch?
I like this
Yeah.
actually.
That was all right. You from New York.
So you already know, like, I am my brother's keeper, that's some real shit, so.
I'll tell you what, man, I watched the first Power Rangers twice a day for like the first 4 years.
I think that's why he's
Power
confusing.
Rangers?
What season?
Oh, Mighty Morphin.
Mighty Morphin, facts.
Hard is hard, it is.
I watch anime too.
Oh wait, you
yeah.
watch anime? What you like?
Dragon Ball Z.
Y'all Naruto.
Don't laugh at me, but I love the Disney Channel original.
Oh, no, that was good.
Hey, let's watch the Disney Channel.
Boy, y'all know about that static shot though.
I was literally just about to say. Static shot. You did?
So why did this go? He voiced every single black.
And Samurai Jack.
Yeah,
You got range, bro. You got range.
All right, I got a question because I feel like we just gonna be like
We gonna be vibing. Man.
too much, yeah,
I
right?
got y'all after this. Even if you white, we gotta tap in. For real.
Hey, yes.
Yeah.
But why is that bother you? You didn't even have to point that out, bro. Okay, so in regards to dating and whatnot, my first girlfriend, she ended up being a Russian girl, and my dad was he always used to throw hints like, "Hey, man, you know, she's nice and all that stuff." And like he would never say it, but I knew like
That's
I
what
think
happened
he
when I
had dealt with
dated
a lot of
somebody.
racism and stuff, so he kind of had like the hesitance for like those type of relationships. Did your parents or family members like say, "Hey, like
I mean, my mother was from Shreveport, so, you know, she used to be on there. And she was older when she had me. She was already like in her late 50s, so she wasn't playing with that really. I don't think my parents ever put, they just want me to love who I love, but at the same time, I think there's always that underlying,
What's
like,
that? What's that?
I was just about to throw a little shot. Never mind.
That's okay. Yeah, they're trying to figure out who it is, and they gotta slowly pick
I ain't
one
gonna
out.
lie, when you said like 50, I would have assumed that it
It was actually the same for me. They never said
Okay.
don't bring a white girl home or anything like that. But I definitely know how it would make them feel if I was to bring home a sister for sure. Like, oh shoot, like you're with somebody who understands you, who can understand what you go through in life as a Black man on the day-to-day basis, from the microaggressions to the ridiculous racism in your face.
My people are cool with whatever. Like, I'm cool with whatever too, but like, I appreciate the sister, like, because she understands me and I don't have to explain myself.
You gotta vote them all off again. Who they gonna vote off?
So how do they vote them off?
Yeah.
That's what I'm lost.
Where they voted.
I think they do explain it. I know we're halfway through, but like they have to say that dude's what. I think they say the name of each one. It's like, I think he's white. Oops. Oh.
Raise the bar.
And then so
By Yingling.
they make it several rounds, which
Low carb.
they then
Low
explain
calorie,
why.
More taste. Room
Which
for the generation. That's
I think is the whole
reaching
point
for
of this.
more. Flight by Yingling. The next generation of life.
Yingling, isn't that German? But they explain why. That's
We have a
interesting.
tie between Rob and Brevin.
Y'all hit that side of relief. Okay, I'm Brevin. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. Like I said, I didn't have a traditional like upbringing as far as like dating a lot of different people because I'm a queer Black man, but it took me a long time to get there. But as far as home life, I had 2 parents, 2 older brothers, and a little sister. Super close. Yeah, this is hard. I don't know.
I'm Black, y'all. I'm Black. I'm Robert. I go by Rob. I'm from South Central LA. We bounced all around. It was just me and my mother, 3 sisters and 2 brothers. I've been in and out the streets, not too much school, and that's pretty much it.
But he's the only one who's not saying he's Black. You ever notice that?
That's true.
That should not be allowed. They shouldn't be able to
It
say
seemed like
I'm
he was
Black.
privileged, and I really wanted to struggle. Hearing some of the things he was saying, it kind of like made me think and like second guess.
In my brain, I was like, this is probably just like one of those cases where he could be white and he's just a product of his environment.
Yeah.
Brevin, you can't vote.
He voted himself.
I appreciate the try, bro.
It looks like we are tied again.
I voted Rob just because I think I heard everyone else speak a little bit more. I also voted Rob. First of all, you know, I'm just gonna say that like the environment he grew up in, you know what I'm saying? I think that like, you know, that's just a case where he can like relate to a lot of like Black people's struggles, you feel me? But
Yeah, why you doing like this?
like Black
I voted for President.
He doesn't want to move his leg too far
Not
under
because
the
Reverend
blindfold.
said anything bad,
We'll see his legs.
but it was more so because of when Rob was talking. I felt like I was listening to one of my cousins talk. And he definitely sounds like he's from South Central for sure. Not a whole lot of white people don't think. So
Then they explain why he's not.
Rob Black, that's it.
yeah.
That's the fact. Rob Black, he sound like people from my way. So he, no offense to you, Brendan, but you gotta kick rocks.
I hear the Previn's voice too though.
I heard him both. I heard it. But Rob, like, I feel like I could say certain things to Rob and he pick up on it quick. If I say certain things to the other, it's like, is you gonna really relate?
Yeah, you know, I
No
think
disrespect,
that
What does hit a lick?
What is it, a lick? They could do a better idea of explaining how they're voting,
Right.
but they do explain why he kind of snuck through.
Rob sound like.
I guess the blindfolds are
I
good.
feel that a lot of times I've felt that I'm too white for the Black people and too Black for the white people, but it's okay. It's
I'll be like that.
Think the mole is still in the box and you want to continue playing the game, raise your hand.
Only one person.
No, stop. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I knew I wasn't gonna get eliminated.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just came in like I was gonna win. Really already said I was gonna win. So.
All right, so let's make things a little bit spicy. So what's like one critique and or what's one thing that you think like Black people could be like doing better? Or like a hot take about like Black people in our community and stuff like that.
Since the beginning of the US, with the obvious mistreatment of Black people, a lot of information pertaining to being able to further us as a people has been withheld from us. And more so recently, the information has been normalized to be pushed out, and this generation is really doing a lot to make sure that we are as gamed up as possible with all the tax information, with all that stuff, so we can no longer have those continuing circumstances of not having the information to be able to financially evolve as a people. And I think that's dope. But I also think that people need to really be on their P's and Q's with that stuff, because the more we sit around and don't go out this information, the more our situation continues to remain the same financially. Even though we spend some of the most money in the US, it never stays within the Black community.
The gangbanging. Yeah. That gotta stop.
Elaborate on that.
Well, it's no point in gangbanging no more. I mean, if you think about it, you gangbanging, and then it got so bad where you know everybody that runs Black in prison is together, even if you from the enemy side, the outside, or anything. So if you go to prison, so if I'm supposed to gangbang, shoot somebody, and if I get caught and I gotta go to prison and get along with the people who I just split on, it don't make no sense. There's no money involved. So that's the first thing, gotta go.
Don't be so quick to buy Gucci, Prada, Louis. Like, I mean, I'm not one to speak myself. I got bricks and Subi on, but at the same time, like, if one of the homies has a brand, you should be going to go buy that, you know?
I feel like a critique is just, my little brother is, he's at HBCU, small in Oklahoma. And nothing against like the school or anything that people is around, but I feel like the ideas and like the mindsets that he's been around from his early childhood and whatnot, because have been just like not open-minded to new possibilities. Opportunities are out there. We just got open-minded to it and try to figure out what works for us.
This might be on the fault of like the media, but I think sometimes we over sensationalize like our pain. And I think that there's so much more to like the Black community, whether it's joy or like having a good laugh or something, like there's just so much more to us than like, the pain that we go through. And I think that needs to be, shown more in like our movies, our TV shows, just like the way we talk about things. Like, I think there's just so much more to the Black community.
I want to see Black people doing like goofy stuff on screen, not just being slaves,
Right. Come on now, talk about it.
Or criminals, or they're gangsters.
Well, that's not even like a thing for America, but like you go to China, you go to like some of these other places, like that's all they see of us. You feel me? Word. Y'all, I'm gonna be real. I think we're all good, bro.
So they explain why this dude slid through. Nature versus nurture.
Sorry, Gabriel. I was saying it happens.
This must be strong
If the mole is
blindfolds.
still in the box and you'd like to continue the game, raise your hand. All right, so that's unanimous. We're gonna end the game right then and there, okay? If the lights turn green, that means you voted the mole out and you all win. If the lights turn red, that means the mole is still in the box and you all lose.
The thought popped in my head of, what if you had it wrong the whole time and the guy right next to you is the one?
3, 2, 1.
He's the only one.
It is red. That means the mole is still here.
Sheesh.
You guys can lift your blindfold in 3, 2, 1.
Not like Rob, like that was different.
My name is Robert, but they call me Milk. I'm from South Central. So I got adopted at 7 days old as a baby, like out the hospital to a black mother.
Nah.
So I was raised with her ever since 7 days old.
That's crazy.
My whole family,
Yeah,
like, I didn't even know the other, I never met the other people until I was like grown. My upbringing was a little strange. I was the only white kid at every party, every birthday. But that never really like bothered me, I guess.
Is it hard for you to fit in with white people?
Oh, it was. It's getting a little better.
What about black people then? Is it easier to?
He still seems like a hippie.
Nah.
I know he does.
I mean,
Like,
I
he's
was around my whole life.
Right.
Jail, county jail, juvenile hall, every party, every
Just and your whole family, like, they just all accept you, because I got sides of my white family that, like, they wouldn't even hold me as a baby because I had a black dad.
Hell no. I had a good family.
Since my mom married a black man, they sat shivits for her, which basically in the Jewish community means that you're dead to me.
Oh,
And
shit.
it's almost
Oh, man.
lone feeling that you get sometimes when you feel like you can't relate to him.
I was like the baby, low key, like the youngest one.
Wow.
You got all the money. It's a
What is
brief.
a misconception?
And
for
he's
how
like,
to
I'm
black
black.
men?
Business in a box that basically states that we're always angry or mad. There's a lot of happy black folk in the world. Like me personally, I'm happy.
We're not as monolithic as a lot of people would make us out to be.
We are bankers, we're lawyers, we're doctors.
We all originated from Africa. We all, because you're further away from the equator, it doesn't matter.
Black is beautiful.
At Men's Wear.
So yeah, just the multicultural components of that. When the supervisee showed me, I'm like, I have to show this just because it explains a little bit.
We got long food.
I know.
I'm like, that's what shirt they got on. Maybe something.
And if you can't find a in-person mental health group, feel free to observe your group on aa.org, like a Zoom meeting, AA meeting, or something. Whatever's
So I
easiest.
have a question. So the first one that you had showed us when it said name of the group and stuff like that, that's the first time that's due, right?
Right.
What's that one do?
Observation group, it was like the last week of August, which is coming fast.
Yeah, it's coming real fast.
Like 2 weeks, not even.
It might be like a week and 3 days, yeah. I feel like 10 days-ish. All right, see y'all.
Our first assignment. It's just observing the group.
Observing the group and filling out that sheet, yes.
And the syllabus,
On the bottom of the syllabus, correct. Scary, huh?
I don't know.
Not really?
Well, because,
Too easy?
I just really started doing my own research stuff. Cause they didn't really post nothing.
What is online now? Is there anything in social?
I got water minutes research.
I heard about that one. Is that a big one?
He wants us to do a paper and then do a final exam.
Ooh.
Like a 5